Well, hello, everybody. I think I'm on now. We're definitely having a technical Tuesday. It does appear to be my laptop at this point. I hope everybody can see me. I'm going to talk for a second and hopefully it'll show you on my screens. There you are. So we are working now. So as I'm sure you pointed out already, we are having a technical Tuesday. Let me tell you what's been going on. But before we do that, let's have a shout out to all the channel members. Let me get those pulled up real quick, and then I'll explain to you what's been going on. It's fitting for today's video as we're going to be talking about obstacles and setbacks this week, but in trucking in general. So we've got 23 members. If you're curious about becoming a member, select the join button at the bottom of the screen, and it will give you more information about how to do that. There's two different tiers. They start at like $5 a month and go from there. You get a little icon next to your name that changes over time the longer you're a member. You get exclusive content, which when I have time to do it, which there's fixing to be a lot more of it, I'm sure. There's just a lot going on. Uh, the very first channel member, the first person to join up as a channel member was Ramon, then Robbie Ross, Corey Oatley, Midlife Trucker, Red Raider Reloading, Randy's Road Life, Smaller Hauler, Oaser DM, Roger Berry, Armando Perez, Bobby, RGB, Gary Cook, My Name is Nobody, Trucker Dan, Tattooed Trucker, KC, Skyhook Trucker, a trucker named Tim, H-Man, 18 Wheeler, Jordan B, PU Patel. And I appreciate all you guys, all your support of the channel. Um, I know a lot of you have been asking about a trucker named Tim. I've texted with him this week. He's doing well. And I look for him to return to the channel here in the next week or two. So here's what's been going on. Let's start with Technical Tuesday, and then we'll work our way back to the other stuff. So about 12 minutes before I was supposed to come on, dang Microsoft, you need to restart your computer right now. You have an update. So I restarted my computer. Well, then my microphone wasn't working on my headset. Matter of fact, it wasn't working on my laptop either. So I was trying to diagnose, get that fixed. All right, then I get that fixed. I've still got about 3 minutes until I'm supposed to go on. And now I've got a weird window on my screen. Anyway, the second I go to come on, my laptop says I don't have any signal, which I do. I'm in 5G. So I don't know if my modem's acting up on my laptop or what. I tried, when it shut down, I tried using a different network. It said the same thing. So I rebooted my laptop and that fixed that. Now let's talk about what's most important to me. Some of you don't know, the left side of my face is starting to swell up. You might see when I talk, it kind of looks like I'm talking out the side of my mouth. A few weeks ago, they pulled a tooth. Either they didn't get all the tooth or I've got a bone spur or something. I got something growing out the side of my gums. It hurts like heck. I've been letting aspirin dissolve in my mouth to kind of numb the pain a little bit. And anyway, I'm in Laurel, Montana, and I found a dentist up here that's going to look at me tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So I'm just trying to survive until then. Also this week, had a truck breakdown, and it's not nothing to do with the truck. You could call it driver error. You could call it whatever you want to call it. I was at a receiver, in line to get unloaded. The parking lot was horrible. They hadn't removed any of the snow. It was muddy. And anyway, when the truck in front of me was pulling out of the dock, he got stuck. And so we spent about 2 hours trying to get him unstuck because he didn't want to call a tow truck. The receiver didn't want to pay for a tow truck. And so we did our best to get him out. In the process of him spinning out and doing all the stuff he did, I don't know if he knocked some stuff loose under the rocks or when I was pulling in and out of the docks, if I knocked some stuff loose under the rocks. I hit an airline right there, right under the compressor at the front of the engine, right there going into the compressor. It's one of those quick connects. It broke it, and every time I touched the brake, I lost all of my air pressure in my secondary tank like within 10 or 15 seconds. I mean, it was super quick. So I got that fixed, and truck's running good. I've got some other stuff I need to do to it, but I think I'm going to take care of it myself. Man, just shop rates and maintenance in general has just got ridiculous. So I'm working my way back to Texas so I can take care of the other maintenance issues. I've also got a service that'll be coming due on the truck and the APU. within the next week and a half or so. And so I use a special oil in my truck. I use Mobile One Extreme 1030, and it's kind of hard to find out here on the road unless you want to pay a fortune. I've got 12 gallons of it in my shop back home, and so I got to get back, pick it up, go get my oil changed, do all that stuff, and then I'm going to do some other maintenance stuff on the truck myself too, in an effort to save a little money. Freight rates have been horrible, 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 horrible. I know you hear me say that every week, but they have been really bad this week. Still making money, just not what I think I should be. And so it can be a little frustrating. Some of you, if you've talked to me on the phone this week, you've experienced some of that frustration. I've become the subject on some other YouTube channels, and not in a bad way. Viewers, instead of asking me, instead of emailing me about how I'm doing, if I'm still enjoying SRO logistics, if there's any problems between me and Scott, instead of asking me, they're going on other YouTube shows and asking there, which is fine. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I can tell you that there's no, let me see how I want to say this. There's no conflict going on between me and Scott. Um, the truck's been great, but it's tough right now. This market, these conditions, and I've said this. Probably have to go back to my Swift video days to see this, but being in contracted onto any company is a lot like a marriage. You're going to have days where things are just great, and you're going to have days where things are a little more tense. And but I'm still working at SRO Logistics. I'm still happy here. I'm still running the spot market. The truck is still performing pretty good. Like I said, I got some little things I need to fix. And yeah, that's what I would say about that. If you guys got any questions on that, you can ask me in here. We'll talk about it. You guys know I'm an open book. I'll tell you the good and the bad as it is, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it's been a kick you in the mouth kind of week, kick you in the gut kind of week. So anyway, enough of my belly aching and crying. Let's get on here and say hello to everybody that's been waiting patiently. Uh, the first one in today was Red Raider Reloading. He was quick draw too. He almost as quick as I posted the video. He was on here, and he's a channel member, and he says hello everyone. Hello, Mr. Red Raider. He's a good friend of mine and a big supporter of the show. Roger Berry, channel member, I'm here. I'm in good old Atlanta again. Hello, everyone. I hate to say people are good friends of the show because almost everybody that comments in here is a really good friend and a big supporter. But just know that most of these guys that are channel members are also really good friends. Channel member Midlife says he's finishing up a 34 out here in Indiana. I got Atlanta on the brain. I'm up here in Laurel, Montana, which I hate this truck stop for those that don't know. I mean, there's very few truck stops that I just hate with a passion, but the TA in Laurel, Montana is definitely it. And I find myself stuck here fairly often. This truck stop, if you might not, some of you probably don't remember, depending on how long you've been with the channel. This is the truck stop that raided my stall when I was pooping. And it was back before the channel had grown to the level it's at now. But for a long time, that was my largest viewed channel, and it was kind of embarrassing. But yeah, that video is still out there if you guys can find it and want to see it. But I just had a real bad experience here, and I've tried to avoid this place ever since. But I stopped here because it's close to where the dentist is that I'm going to tomorrow, and I can get a shower and be presentable when I go in there tomorrow. Gary Cook, channel member, says he's listening in Ardmore, Oklahoma at the Loves. Glad you made it in, my friend. Robbie Ross, channel member, hiya, friends, on my way to Garland, Texas from Goodyear, Arizona. That's a good run. And Red Ready Reloading channel member, I'll be listening as I will be in DFW rush hour hell. Oh gosh, I hate that. Typically, what I try to do in the big cities is if I know I'm going to hit it during rush hour, I'll take a 30-minute break or something prior to going into it and try to miss that rush hour. And people say, oh, my loads are too tight. I don't have the time. You've got the time because you're going to spend that in traffic. Better to be off duty somewhere for 30 minutes and get through it in a reasonable amount of time, or than it is to try to squeeze on through. And sometimes I'll take the express lanes and pay the toll, depending on the circumstance. And channel member Robbie Ross was telling Red Raider he'll be traveling through DFW Thursday morning. And channel member Red Raider Reloading says to Robbie Ross that he'll be going through there late afternoon. And speaking of my good friend, a trucker named Tim, channel member that I mentioned a minute ago, he says, can't watch the show, but wanted to say hi and show support. Have a good show. We appreciate you coming in, Tim. There's been a lot of questions about Tim, and we're going to let him answer those when he comes back. We'll see if he wants to come on air and do it, or if he wants to do it in the comments. I'll get with him and see. Having said everything I said a minute ago and saying it the way I said it, this has been a tough week, and it had nothing to do with Scott per se, but there was some serious consideration, especially yesterday, about just walking away from YouTube and social media, and trimming my life down, going back to being a regular guy. And the two things, actually there was three things. I had a talk with a guy on the phone. Actually, it was more than that. I had several things happen. I had a guy that I had a talk with on the phone that we were kind of talking about it, and he gave me some perspective to think about. I hadn't thought of. There was a video I watched on YouTube, and it really affected me and made me think about things. And also, I've got two big interviews coming up on this show that are going to be, one of them may be this coming Tuesday or the following Tuesday. And so I at least wanted to get those out, but it's definitely been overwhelming at times, and a lot of it just could be because my jaw's hurting so bad. But man, you get on there and you see freight rates $1.20 a mile, $1.40 a mile, and then today I had a load I was supposed to pick up in the morning in Billings, and it was just a cross town run to kind of tide me over till day after tomorrow when I pick up my next load, and I ended up losing it because of an incompetent broker. And so I was a little down about that, but then it worked out good. My tooth started really hurting, and I was like, you know what? I'm glad I don't have that load. I'm going to get this tooth fixed while I got some downtime. And so, but I think sometimes because I am honest on here and a lot of YouTubers aren't honest, when I tell you the truth, people go to the extreme and they think, oh, Trucker Todd's leaving SRO, or, Trucker Todd's about to lose his truck. And any of those things could happen. I've told all of you, and so far the only criticism I've got is from people not doing it, that all of us are one major breakdown away from being out. And this week, I thought that major breakdown was on my doorstep. I'm not sure if it is or it isn't, nor is anybody else. None of us are sure if that next major breakdown is coming. But I'm going to keep fighting as long as I can keep fighting. And so y'all just have to hang in there and watch. But in order for this channel to work, I have to be honest with you guys. There's been multiple opportunities in my life on this channel where I could have had a lot more subscribers and made a lot more money if I'd have just lied or if I'd have just stretched the truth a little bit or something like that. And I've chose not to do that. I've choose to keep my credibility and be honest with you guys. And so sometimes because it's such a rarity, especially on the internet, a lot of people don't know how to take that. Let's see. We've got channel member Skyhook Trucker. Let me get caught up on my comments. He says, here listening, but driving through Chicago. Oh, man, better you than me. So I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this on air or not. Skyhook Trucker, might remember, was on the show a while back, and he's over at GP Transco. The one thing he did not like was that he was in an international. And a few days ago, he received the Freightliner he had been wanting since he started there. So congratulations to Skyhook for getting the truck that he wanted. I talked to him on the phone, I guess it was yesterday, and he was just talking about how much more room he had in the truck and how much happier he was. So good for him. Red Raider Reloading channel member. Hiya, Tim. How you been? I think he's already gone. He was just a quick check-in, but I've told him that, and he's aware. He watches these videos on the replay when he can, that everybody's asking about him and wanting to know how he's doing. And like I said, he'll be back soon, probably in the next week or two, if I was guessing. Red Raider Reloading channel member. Man, these Texas fires are still going. Well over 1 million acres burned. Yeah, and I hadn't been nowhere near them. I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, that they were within 2 or 3 hours of Lubbock, but my wife said she hasn't noticed any of the smoke or anything like that. So I'll be passing through there probably this weekend. Maybe stop by the house for a couple of hours. I've got a load going to Midlothian, Texas, right south of Fort Worth. And then I've got one going to a town called No Trees, Texas, which is over by Midland. And then the plan is to go back to Lubbock and do that stuff to the truck that needs to be done. It's kind of a rough draft of a plan. We'll see if it all works out like I want it to. Hey, YouTube royalty is here. Cash is King Trucking. Hey now, glad you could make it in, sir. Anytime I get the YouTube celebrities in here, I always have Technical Tuesday. Something breaks or something goes wrong, but always nice when we can get him and DIY and Snorlord and all those guys in here. Adam says, here from the tractor today. Hope all is well. Yes, sir. Glad to see you again, my friend. So Adam, I'm glad he's hung around. He went through a little bit of a career change. It was voluntary. He's doing something that he wanted to do, and he stuck with the channel. So I appreciate Adam's loyalty and hanging around all this time. Channel member Roger Berry says, Technical Tuesday. Absolutely. You know, we talked about merchandise the last couple of weeks. We're definitely going to have a Trucker Todd Technical Tuesday shirt. Gary Cook, channel member, Facebook had difficulties early this morning. Yeah, I really believe these issues were with my laptop. I hope the modem within the laptop is not going out. Hopefully, and I hope it's separate from the motherboard and it's something that can be replaced. But hopefully we don't have to go down that road. Trucking with the Fly Rabbit says, good day, Todd. Good day, sir. So Mr. Fly Rabbit here, he's embarked on a new adventure. I guess I can talk about it. He's got YouTube videos out about it. And I've been watching his videos. He's putting out 1 or 2 a day. He is, I may have to take a drink here in a second. I feel my voice going, but he's stopped working at Swift, stopped training, and he's picking up an SFI truck and leasing that truck onto Schneider. So he's really excited about this new journey he's on, and he's really excited about his new truck. Went with the International because it has a Cummins, and if you're interested in SFI or if you're interested in Schneider, I would encourage you to check out Fly Rabbit's videos he's putting out this week. He's basically given a day-to-day account of what the orientation process is like over there and what he thinks of his truck. He's kind of done a walk around of the outside of the truck, but I think he's going to have some interior videos coming out here in the next day or two. So if that's something that interests you, y'all go over there and check him out after the live. Don't leave my live to go check him out, but right after, go do it. Channel member P.U. Patel. Good evening, Trucker Todd here in Columbus, Ohio. Picking up at Coca-Cola, getting loaded way early. Appointment is for tomorrow at 11 a.m. Wow, that is good. So that tells us something about that facility, the Coca-Cola plant in Columbus, Ohio. It also tells us something about P.U. Patel. A lot of these soft drink places, for those that don't know, they don't like to load early, but they've probably got some really good guys working there. And P.U. Patel probably went in with a good attitude, clean cut, acting professional, and they thought, yeah, we're going to help this guy out. So good on you. I'm glad that you're getting loaded early, and being a professional and doing the right thing and having a good attitude, it pays off when you're at these shippers and receivers a lot of times. So that's good news to hear, my friend. Midlife Trucker channel member, there's only two things in Montana. Or was that Oklahoma? Yeah, I love coming up here, but man, and I used to make a lot of money up here. Here lately, I'm taking a bath coming up here. I was telling a guy that runs Spot Market earlier today on the phone. I was like, actually, no, it was a broker that I'm pretty good friends with. I was like, man, I don't know how many more times I can come up here. Me and you may have to start talking about me running different parts of the country. But I'll go anywhere if the money's right. And he knows that. But we weren't having like a, you know, real serious conversation. We were just kind of joking. I was like, oh man, I got to quit coming up here. He's like, yeah, it's tough up there right now. But we were kind of sharing some insider information about where to go, where not to go, things like that. This is a great question. P.U. Patel, channel member, says, I believe you mentioned Swift was the company where you made the most money in trucking. Would you consider going back if you had a major breakdown on your truck? So I'm going to be totally honest with you. I would love to go back to Swift if this deal came to an end, but it's not an option. That accident disqualifies me from Swift for 5 years. So, no, it won't be Swift. But I still, when people say, hey, what'd you think about Swift? I still say good about them. I still think good about them. I've got a lot of friends over there. But I also put a caveat in there and say it's a lot different now than when I worked there. It was almost a year ago. It's not quite a year ago yet. But they've undergone a lot of changes. Is my hat crooked? Maybe not. Anyway, they've undergone a lot of changes and things over there. And so I don't know. I don't know. I would like to go back to this and we're talking purely if SRO was not a possibility anymore. I would like to go back there if they were what they were when I worked there before. But if everything's true about what they're saying about the changes now, then I'd have to really scratch my head and think about it. But the safe thing for me is it's not an option. That that accident in Texarkana um, has disqualified me from them for 5 years. A lot of people don't realize that, but that company's a hard company to get hired on at. Most of the people that applied there did not get approved, and I would get messages all the time. I would love to come work with you, Todd, but they didn't approve me. They're pretty picky in their hiring process, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying that if you think I've got if you think I've got 5 speeding tickets for 20 over and they're going to hire me, probably not. They may not even hire you with 1 speeding ticket for 20 over. I had one guy that applied over there. He had a misdemeanor from 27 years ago and they wouldn't hire him. I don't know how they found it. I didn't think they could track a misdemeanor that far back. I had one guy that didn't get hired over there because he admitted that 15 years ago, after his brother's wedding, that he smoked 1 marijuana roach. 15 years ago. Wasn't arrested, no criminal record, but because he was honest and told them about it, they were like, yeah, we can't hire you. Trucking with the fly rabbit. Man, trucking with the fly rabbit. Thanks for the shout out. You're the best. You're welcome, my friend. Alaska Hall. Didn't Fly Rabbit just start working for Swift? Um, he's been there a few times. He left and came back. I think he's been there on and off for a little over a year, maybe. But he did have some intermissions there, would be the way to describe it. We got a bunch of questions for Fly Rabbit. I hope you're still here. Midlife Trucker channel member Fly Rabbit, do you miss Christensen? That 579 Ultra Loft with the Barry Cam. LOL. I did hear him say that, Christensen, and I'll let him answer for himself if he's still here. But he told me last time I talked to him on the phone that if he had to find another company, if things went south, if something fell through at Schneider or on the Schneider truck, that Christensen would be on his short list of companies he would consider. He said they were a very good company. You guys know I hadn't pulled any punches. There's some things that would make me not be real interested in Christensen. The app that they want you to put on your phone where they can see, if you have a phone call or something while you're driving, irregardless of if you have the headset, the inward facing camera, things like that would just be, they're deal breakers for me. But they're not deal breakers for him. He said they didn't micromanage him. The inward facing camera didn't bother him. So he did tell me, if he couldn't do what he was doing, that Christensen would be on his short list. P.U. Patel, channel member Fly Rabbit, did you get that 6K sign-on bonus at Snyder? I hope he's still here because I don't know the answer to that one. I be dad too. What did I miss? I'm late. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I covered a lot of things. You may want to just rewind the video and catch it from the start. Watch it at like 1.5 speed or double speed since I talk slow, and you'll catch up to us pretty quick. Well, I'm trying to think how to describe it. It was the best load available for where I was at the time. Nothing's paying good right now, and I mean, I'm looking nationwide, even places I'm not going. Spoke with a really smart guy on the phone, a guy that's in here a lot earlier today, and he was over in the Midwest, and he was complaining about the rates over there. Um, it's a tough deal. It's a lot different, I'm sure, up there in Alaska where you're at because it's kind of secluded. It's kind of self-contained, things like that. But down here, I mean, the only I had a guy that said some really mean things to me in the comments, but he's on a mileage contract, so his situation's entirely different. And but anyway, I don't want to go into his comment. I don't want to shine a light on a cockroach, but yeah, it's the worst place to be right now in trucking is in the truck. It's bad. And I read an article this morning that this article suggested it might get better in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and it explained why they think it's going to get better in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it will. Traditionally, it does. It basically said it starts in the reefer division. That reefer division is going to come up a little bit, but it also said one of the setbacks will be is as the chain laws come down, more trucks will be willing to run more, and so we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it's a mess right now, and anybody that tells you it's not right now is out of touch or doesn't drive a truck. Alaska Haul, I don't drive to Alaska anymore, running reefer in the Midwest now. Yeah, and that's important to keep in mind too. The reefer market is an entirely different beast than the dry van market. But even reefer has had some struggles here lately. But yeah, I don't know. I like when I pulled reefer, Salt Lake was always a good area to run out of. There was some loads from Montana running down to Salt Lake, and so there is some stuff over here. Let's see, Gary Cook, channel member. How much is fuel there in Montana? Here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, fuel is 403 a gallon, 403.9 a gallon. So I don't ever look at pump price. I always look at what my price is. And I would say typically speaking that I find myself paying 320 to 360 a gallon depending on where I'm at. Earlier today, I filled up or I didn't fill up. I got 75 gallons a little while ago and it was like 360 a gallon, something like that. I don't remember the exact number. Don't have that in front of me right now. But yeah, it's tough right now. The difference is though, and that's what me and that other guy were talking about earlier today, and he was agreeing with me. He's like, "Yeah, but out there it's easy to find parking. The fuel's cheaper." He's like, "I'm over here in the Midwest and the Northeast," and he's like, "The PA Turnpike is killing me. All the toll roads are killing me. I can't find parking. When I do, I got to pay to park." And he's like, "Fuel is higher." And he's like, "I'm getting a better rate than you are." But he's like, "By the time I factor in all those costs, you're probably doing better than me right now." Alaska Haul, I've been averaging 250 to $3 a mile round trip from Midwest to Southeast. That's probably not terrible in this market, but uh, are you giving a percentage of that away to your company? Are you paying for reefer fuel? Are they paying for reefer fuel? Bleh, reefer fuel. You're also pulling heavier loads, pulling the reefer, and so that's going to affect your fuel economy. There's just there's a lot of factors that go into that, but I would say you're probably doing better than most in reefer. I don't follow reefer as closely as uh, as I do dry van information right now, but I can tell you that I've told Scott if he comes across a reefer that I'm not opposed to pulling it. I'll run reefer freight on the spot market. And he said that if he did buy a reefer, he'd probably buy a reefer as opposed to leasing it, because he felt like that's a better way to go. In the past, he hadn't been real excited to get involved with reefer, but he said never say never. Midlife Trucker channel member, he said reefer. Yes, sir, he did. Midlife Trucker channel member, the fuel price for us at Ardmore is $3.09.7 with the company discount less IFTA's $2.97. Well, you know what I mean. 2.907. There, let me say it that way. Let's play a fun little game while we're doing this. Since we're all looking at Ardmore, Oklahoma, let me look on the ES Advantage fuel card and see what my discount would be in Ardmore, Oklahoma. By the way, if you want to know about the ES Advantage fuel card or the Mudflap and get the $10 worth of free fuel that I tell you guys about, click on the title of this video and it'll drop down a bunch of information with that kind of stuff there. But let's see here. That's another thing I better clear up while I'm here. Somebody thought that I said on the ES Advantage that I couldn't even put $100 on my card, and that's why I wasn't using it. That is incorrect. What I was saying is it takes $100 to start a card, to get them to mail you one. For new guys, I was referring to a guy that was saying he was fixing to apply for the card, and I was like, send your $100, they'll send you the card, and then over time as you can build it up and start using it. Somebody launched off into an attack of me saying that, man, I must be doing really bad if I can't even buy $100 worth of fuel. And it goes back to what I was telling you about fitting a narrative. They want so bad for me to fail that no matter what I say, they're looking for a way to throw it back up in my face. Well, mine says that at the Loves there in Ardmore, where he's at, I can get it for 3.252 per gallon. It's a 73.7 cents savings. So that's a pretty decent discount. It's not as great as what Midlife is getting, but definitely a very good discount. I'm not sure how they're getting theirs that cheap. This is only the second time where anybody's ever beat me on ES Advantage. And so, yeah, Midlife, it sounds like your guys are getting a great deal there. Now, Midlife is a company driver, so it doesn't really affect him, but I guess they must have some lease purchase over there if he knows what they're paying for fuel and all of that. Gary Cook, channel member, I got my toll bill for January. It was $1,500 for the whole month. And yes, I ran a lot of Northeast, so it's kind of my fault. Yeah, I got that one that was, I don't even remember the amount now. And I was like, I got to stay out of the Northeast. So it's going to have to be a really good paying load for me to go up there. Alaska Hall, have my own signs. Reefer is always more. Well, yes and no. So reefer is more, but your cost is more. Your risk is more. You know, if you get a load of ice cream and you take off and your reefer breaks down and you can't find a Thermo King to get it fixed or something, you could be liable for that ice cream. And you're going to have more maintenance. You've got to service the APU unit. I mean the the reefer unit. You've so there is some additional expense. The problem I had with reefer is over time forklifts will tear that deal off the ceiling that the air goes down, and you got to get that reattached. I mean, there's just trailer washouts, things like that. Your loads are generally heavier, so you use more fuel. You have your lumper fees, which usually the broker will reimburse for those, but not always. You, I mean, there's just there's a trade-off. There's a reason it pays more, um, and it's like these companies. When I hear reefer guys say, "Oh, I make more money than you," you probably gross more than I do, and you might net more than me. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But when I hear them say that, it reminds me of these companies that advertise on Facebook. Our drivers gross $20,000 a week or $15,000 a week. And then you look down in the comments and you read the reviews and they say, yeah, I do, but I take home $800. So it doesn't matter what you gross, it matters what you net. Again, this is another half truth. Alaska Haul reefer is always a better way to go. You can take dry loads to Midwest and reefer back. Sometimes heavier loads, I've hauled several loads, especially lately, where they say absolutely no reefers. So yeah, on the lighter stuff, you can put it in a reefer, you can pull dry freight, but there is quite a bit of loads, especially post COVID, that you cannot pull with a reefer. Midlife channel member says they have 300 trucks and use ComData. He also said no lease purchase. They just give us the app so we can make our own decisions where to fuel. I picked the best option for the company. Wow, that is good then. If so, they really are putting a lot of trust in you guys. Living with Grace, 286 Loves in Ardmore, Oklahoma. What fuel card is that? Living with Grace? Because midlife's rate was exceptional, and you're beating it by a large amount. So what one was if you're beating him by almost 20 cents, actually, shoot, I can't do math right now. Maybe over 20 cents. Tell us what fuel card you're getting that with, Living with Grace. Alaska Haul just bought a 2021 stainless reefer with super low hours, so hopefully unit won't give me any issues. All the other downsides, I don't mind. Well, that's the point. It's all of this stuff is risk reward. How many headaches are you willing to tolerate for the money you're making? Um, Evidently, you like what you're doing, but to say that everybody should be doing it, not necessarily. Um, yeah, if you live in Southern California, reefer's probably the way to go. If you live up in the Northeast, reefer's probably the way to go. But there's parts of the country where reefer's not your best option. And reefer has highs and lows, just like any other, just like flatbed, just like tanker, just like dry van. They all have their high and low spots. Living with Grace is at Prime. So Prime's getting that big discount, huh? That is really good if that's true. Robbie Ross, channel member, I'm turning back to Phoenix with an Amazon load on Thursday. Will our paths cross? No, because like I said, tomorrow I'm getting that tooth pulled. So I'm picking up that load on Thursday. That'll put me down there probably Friday evening or sometime Saturday morning in that area. So I'll be right behind you. Okay, we're at that part of the show where I'm caught up on the comments. It usually does happen right before the hour mark. Let me remind everybody, give me a thumbs up. please, we really need it right now. Um, and share this video on your social media platforms. Make sure you're subscribed and click the bell, select all so that you get notifications when I do these videos. My good friend, I'll give you an example. I've got a good friend that's on here, or he was here a minute ago, that he doesn't get any notifications when my videos come out, and he's subscribed. He's a channel member, and we can't figure out why. YouTube likes to do weird things like that. So make sure you are subscribed. Also, click on the title of the video. There's going to be a lot of other great information, things you'll want to know, be aware of. It's got the website, it's got the email address, all of that there. Also, check out that join button for becoming a channel member. You've heard me mention them all night. If you can't beat them, you might as well join them. It's the Guerrilla Gang, and you definitely want to be a part of that. Also, another big announcement. I should have made this at the start of the show. It is highly unlikely I will be at Matt's this year. So if you're trying to decide if you're going to go or not, especially if you're hoping to see me there, there's always a chance I could squeak in at the last minute, but it's getting pretty highly unlikely, especially with me having to stop by the house and work on this truck a little bit. Shannon Thomas Trucking is here. Hadn't seen her in a while. I was just thinking about you today, Shannon. I was watching a couple of your videos, wondering how you was doing. She says, "Good evening, Todd and chat. Glad you made it in here." Known her since my dart days. And boy, she's one of those. She was working intermodal in Chicago, and she's one of these. I don't want to call her a bookworm, but she's one that thoroughly researches things, thoroughly studies, and she hit the ground running. And now she's got her own truck. She's working for a really good guy at a really good company, and things are going well for her. And it's kind of fun to see and fun to watch and follow along. So uh, good for her. Congratulations, Shannon. Alaska Haul didn't say it was for everyone. I'm just saying in general, with a reefer, you don't haul super cheap freight like on a van. I think everybody hauls super cheap freight occasionally. The key is just to do it as little as possible and to control your deadhead. Gary Cook, channel member, do you do your own oil changes? Absolutely not. I got some other little things I need to fix on the truck, but no, I do not do my own oil changes. I don't do electrical work either if I can avoid it. Shannon Thomas Trucking. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, Shannon Thomas. All right, we're caught up on the comments. If y'all got something else, throw it up there. If you don't, I'm going to get out of here. Man, you can even tell in the video how that side of my face is swollen right through there. Give y'all just a few more minutes. I'm going to send a text message while you're typing your mention or your comments. Living with Grace says, I'd be interested to compare California prices. Well, I don't go to California anymore, but I don't mind looking for you. Where do you want to search in California? You give me a place and we'll do it. I'm going to take your comment down real quick though so that everybody can see the website and all of that stuff. Give me a city in California there, Living with Grace. I'm going to take a drink while he's doing that. I do have Coke Zero over here on standby, but this is actually water with some sugar-free grape flavoring in there, and it tastes just like Kool-Aid. Man, it's good. If I had some ice in here, it'd be really good. It's hard to say ice with a swollen jaw, too. Okay, let me tell y'all what's going on right now. Right now, as we're doing this video, Living with Grace is looking around California for cheap fuel so we can compare. Ontario, California. You're probably going to beat me on this one. So my cheapest option in the Ontario area is a quick fuel in Ontario, $5.35.9 a gallon. What have you got out there? And that's really not that good of a deal. There's no savings at that location, according to this. I don't think California is a place that people generally buy fuel. If they do, it's just enough to get out. All right, now I know I don't believe you. There's no way you're getting 327 a gallon at the TA in Ontario, California. That is not happening. Because, well, I got to get on the other phone to do this. Hang on just a second. You see, and I didn't want to do this, but I guess we're going to talk about Prime. Yeah, yeah, but we're just talking. Forget if to you can figure that on your own. We're just talking the discount. So right now, man, I didn't want to do this tonight. But I'm in one of those moods. If you guys want to go, we'll go. Right now, diesel in Ontario, California is 549.9 a gallon. So you want me to believe, living with Grace, that your discount is, what is that, 549.9 to 327, $2.20 something cents a gallon. Yeah, right. So let me tell you what's really going on here. Is now I believe midlife and the things he's saying, but let me tell you about living with Grace. So what we've got here is some prime drivers that can't make money driving their truck, so they come on other YouTube's channels and try to promote their company, hoping to get some referral bonuses. That's also why Prime pushes Team so much, and so I'm not going to entertain living with Grace anymore. If you're going to come on here and say ridiculous things, I'm done with you. Midlife Trucker channel member Rialto Pilot is 452.6. And yep. Now that's more believable, 50 cents or something like that. Yeah, but you want to come over here and say you're getting over a $2 a gallon discount. I mean, the truck stop's not making that much money. Now maybe he's doing it after he subtracts out IFTA and everything else. Channel member Midlife, our discounted price is at Rialto Pilot is 97 cents off pump. Yeah, no, that's believable. There's several places I can get that ES Advantage with over a dollar a gallon discount, but not $2 and something. Come on. Midlife channel member, it could be subsidized by it could be subsidized by the carrier. Yes, I'm aware of that, Midlife. However, they're not going to subsidize it to where they don't make any money on it or where they lose money on it. They don't have $2.50 worth of markup on fuel or $2.20 worth of markup on fuel. And even if they do, Prime's not going to give all of that to their drivers. They're going to keep some of it for themselves, as most companies do. If you think that oh, yeah, we're not going off on this. How do I send you a screenshot to prove you wrong? Todd at truckertodd.net. Email it to me. According to Nastic Fuel on Ontario, California is 470.2 a gallon. Well, I just got on TA's app, and according to TA, their diesel is 549.9 pump price, and their is 4099. So I think I would believe TA's own website before I would believe a third party. But you guys can believe what you want to. Channel member Midlife, that 4 was a dollar. Yep. And that's why I said I believe yours. Now that this very well may be. Channel member Midlife says what I'm saying is the amount he's seeing is the discounted price plus a part of the fuel surcharge. It's it's not comparing apples to apples. Well, yeah, you're probably right. It's probably got the fuel surcharge wedged in there somehow. But I'm sitting here waiting. Let's see if I get that email where he's going to show me. He's going to set me straight. So far, I've got a lot of LinkedIn emails. I got somebody offering me a business loan multiple times. Hotels.com sent me something. Here we go. I wish I could put this up on the screen. So he sent me a deal that says Ontario discount. And then when you scroll down, it shows Ontario. But when you scroll over to see the details, of course, you can't see that. On the map itself, it does show 327, but there's nothing on here to show that this came from Prime. And there's nothing on here to show how he arrived at this number. And I believe it's probably like Midlife says, they're calculating in his fuel surcharge or something like that with it. Again, what I've found is people that are telling the truth are generally transparent. They don't try to take pictures where you can't see all the information. Living with Grace email is sent. The only thing isn't added is the IFTA tax. So this is minus IFTA. So again, we're not comparing apples to apples. I would have to subtract out of the numbers I gave IFTA. That's very misleading, and that's what makes drivers not trust a lot of companies. Just put the true numbers out there. Adam, heard the fires were burning back towards Oklahoma. I'm on the local fire department, and we have lucked out on major fires. That came from Adam. Is there any chance they're going to send you guys out to fight the fires in other areas? I know, like sometimes fire departments will help other fire departments and things like that. Okay, I just looked up the California IFTA, and right now it's at 89.3 cents per gallon. The tax will again increase on October 1st to 108.9 a gallon. So even if everything he said were true, he's still going to be over $4 a gallon. Now, it's still better than what my rate is, but I still think there's some what they used to call fuzzy math going on here. And the truth, I wouldn't have been skeptical if he'd have just showed everything. But I get the same thing on settlements. People send me settlements, and they take the screenshots in such a way that you can't see the pertinent information. I had one guy say, "Oh, you're getting ripped off. I make this and I make that." I said, "Well, send me a settlement," and he sent me one, and I noticed real quick there wasn't any truck payments on there, and there wasn't any truck any insurance on there, and there wasn't any. I mean, none of that stuff. All that was on there was his fuel. And I'm going, well, this is why you're making more. You don't have all your expenses on there. We're not comparing apples to apples, and that's uh, that's the reason that he was doing it the way he was. He didn't want me to. He didn't want me to see the truth. I'm a little smarter than I look, folks. And right now, my fuse is a little shorter than normal because my jaw's really hurting. So if you put up bogus stuff, I'm going to call it. Let's see. Adam says we have sent a truck or two to agencies nearby. Problem is staffing. We are paid per call, but normally only 5 to 7 show up for calls. Wow. Do you get kicked off the fire department if you miss so many calls or anything like that? Yeah, correction here. Let me get to this first. Uh, Channel member midlife is correct. I was wrong. The deal I was reading was 2023. In October, it went up to 108.9 per gallon for IFTA in California. So those numbers, bare minimum that he sent, you got to add $1.89 to those numbers, which makes it significantly higher than what he originally represented. Living with Grace, the reason it's blown out is because the app check the Loves in Upper Sandusky, Ohio, where I'm about to fuel there. Well, now we're moving the goalpost. You wanted to check California, and now you're saying check Sandusky, Ohio. And by the way, back on this for just a second, that first place that you wanted us to check, Ardmore, Oklahoma, you probably should have led with, hey, I don't have IFTA in my numbers. That's why my rate is so cheap. My card kills your card when you put IFTA in there, I'm pretty sure. Adam, not here unless you don't show up for a year. Wow. They are a pretty forgiving fire department. The sad thing is, Adam said only 5 to 7 show up for calls. It's probably the same 5 to 7. And the others just kind of show up when it's convenient for them. No fear. Hey, everyone. Channel member Midlife, I sent you a screenshot. Ours breaks down pump price, discounted price, and the discounted price without IFTA. Yeah, I don't even need to look at yours, Midlife, because yours is believable. If you tell me you get a 97-cent discount at a place, that's a believable deal. If you tell me you're getting $2.30 a gallon discount somewhere, that's not a believable deal. And then you try to correct it by going, well, we have IFTA taken out of that, and we do this fuzzy math and that fuzzy math. But no, I wasn't. The credibility of yours wasn't being questioned, Midlife. So I don't even need to check yours. I know yours is right. Living with grace because I can prove an actual receipt from Sandusky. Okay, so now he wants me to stop the show and go check out Sandusky, Ohio. Let's do that real quick. But then I'm going to have to look up the IFTA rate in Ohio. Man, I can't believe I'm doing this. Must be a slow news day. All right, Sandusky, Ohio. The cheapest place I see in the Sandusky area is 369.9, which is not really a savings. It's not showing a big savings there either. It's like any other card. It has its strong spots and weak spots. California and this part of Ohio seem to not be great. But let's see what the Ohio amounts are. Staying phone. All right, so Adam, you're correct. It's always the same people. I was showing up for calls a day or two after we got home from with the baby. Yeah, that's good. I'm surprised they don't show some of them the door if they're not regular. You got to be able to depend on those guys. You never know what you're walking into. RCE Evening Todd, I like your show. You tell it the way it is. Some of these drivers are full of BS. Anyway, we're going to listen toothache. Thanks, man. You can see it swelling during the show. It's kind of funny. Channel member midlife. I think ES Advantage will use it too if you get the code from them. Okay, I lost you midlife. I don't know what your ES Advantage will use what if you get the code from them. No fear, I'm chilling down below Tampa waiting to deliver. Man, that sounds like a great place to be right now. Midlife Trucker channel member Ohio IFTA is 47 cents. All right. Um, so we'll skip to Living with Grace. He says 303 at the Loves. So let's add 47 cents to that. That makes it 350 a gallon. So it's still not bad. It's still better than what I was able to get at 369. So that's within 20 cents of me. That's a big deal. That is a good savings, and that is more believable. But now, because of how this all transpired, Living with Grace, I would want to know what else is calculated in that. Make sure there's no hocus pocus here. They're not throwing fuel surcharge or something like that in there to inflate the numbers. And of course, that would be really difficult for us to get to. No Fear says, hit the like button, please. Yes, please do. Need that desperately. And my good friend, channel member Robbie Ross, just gifted 5 Trucker Todd memberships. So 5 of you that's been commenting a lot, you're about to receive a gifted membership. It'll come directly from YouTube. I don't have any control over who gets those, but I appreciate it. Let me tell you who the 5 are. Racing Ray 28 is now a channel member. Davenport Family is now a channel member. Mark Ely is now a channel member. And let's see, was that 5? Lance Calhoun and No Fear are also channel members. Thank you for doing that there, Robbie Ross. He says he's boosting. Sorry, it gets complicated. Boosting the numbers. There you go. We need to boost the numbers. Channel member midlife. Todd, he doesn't understand that on Ontario discount, he was looking at it was 97 cents discount and the 108 non-fuel IFTA removed. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But where we disagree on this midlife, I think this was done intentionally to try to mislead people. And that's what really irritates me. I don't think it's that he didn't know these things. I think that he knew, but he was trying to diss my fuel card. And that's what ticks me off. You know, if he'd have come in and said, yeah, but it doesn't include this and this, and mine's about a nickel cheaper than yours when we figure everything out, then yeah, I'd have been okay with it. But when he did it the way he did it, that was an intentional move to mislead and to frankly try to use my channel to recruit. And I think there's several people in here that do that sometimes, and I just got to put a stop to it. That app should work with ES Advantage's Fuelbook. Yeah, I've had Fuelbook before. I used it a lot when I was at Swift, but and I use it some with ES Advantage, but generally ES Advantage, you can go on their Wex app and see where the best places to go with their card is. And so that's typically what I do. That's what they recommend you do too. Channel member Midlife Prime has 7,000 trucks on their discount program. They are going to get a pretty good rate. Yes, they are. And they're going to keep part of that rate, as they should. They've got a lot of administrative costs to manage 7,000 trucks buying fuel. You got to figure probably 3,500 or 4,000 of them are buying fuel every day. So that's a lot of transactions. They're going to make money off of that. They're not going to do it out of the goodness of their heart. And so, but I don't know if it's just ignorance, and ignorance doesn't mean an insulting thing here. Ignorance means him not knowing. I don't know if he just doesn't know that it's not what he's saying it is, or if he's purposefully trying to mislead to get recruits. But he picked the opportune time to do it when he's attacking the card that I recommend. And so I get suspicious when we tell half truths while I'm talking about something that's worked well for me. Living with Grace, as soon as the receipt hits, I'll email it. Well, the receipt, if your receipt is like mine, it won't show the discount. I get a receipt typically, and it doesn't show the discount. I have to go and get the receipt with the discount at a different place. But now I'm starting to think that Living with Grace didn't mislead people. I'm starting to think he just doesn't know, because he doesn't seem to understand, or she, I'm not sure if it's a he or she. They don't seem to understand. I'll use the they pronoun. They don't seem to understand what Midlife and I are talking about the IFTA and all of that not being calculated in there. And so, the 97-cent discount and the IFTA and all of that. So I don't think he, and probably fuel surcharge too. And I've shared this. The one thing I didn't like about Swift, Swift with 12,000 trucks or 20,000, I think they have 20 something thousand. With all those trucks, they're getting a huge fuel discount. Do you know what our fuel discount was as an independent contractor if you use the Swift fuel card? A nickel. A nickel a gallon. And they didn't even call it a fuel discount. They called it a fuel rebate. Now, you could save some decent money if you bought it at a terminal or something like that. But these companies, and I never squabbled about it. It's why I used ES Advantage so much when I was at Swift. They've got administrative costs. They've got to recoup those somehow. And so they're going to do that. Hey, and look for another thing too, folks. As the rates continue to stay cheap like this and companies are struggling to make it, look for them to take more and more of your fuel surcharge and your fuel discount, trying to make money everywhere they can. Channel member Robbie Ross says that his price in Ontario is $4.58 a gallon. Gary Cook, channel member Arter Express, only gave their lease drivers only 7 cents. Well, that's better than Swift's nickel, I guess. All right, we're caught up on the comments. Y'all got anything else? Throw it up there. I hadn't even gone to look at the likes. Hopefully y'all have all hit the thumbs up. If there's anything else we want to discuss, let's get it out there. All right, it looks good to me. I'm fixing to check out of here. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you on Thursday. Hopefully I'll be one tooth less and feeling a lot better. And we'll see you then. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.